Good evening, YouTubers. Welcome back into another round of Astros Recap Postseason edition. So yeah, Astros, obviously, games 1 and 2 are in the books for the ALDS. Few things I want to mention before I actually get into these here. By the way, it is Monday night, so one day later than usual. Obviously, the Astros had a night game last night, so things didn't end until around 10 o'clock. Getting home, getting ready for work today, so work today last night. So, yeah, just today was better, obviously. It is late, 10:21 p.m., October 9th, 2023. A few things just to follow up with some previous podcasts. Obviously, at work the last few weeks doing these didn't turn out exactly how I wanted. Some issues mic-wise. The default mic was set a few weeks ago. I know last week the recording went on a little too long. I hit the pause button or the stop button, and then for some reason, so I've had some issues with the software and what I'm using. Hopefully things are a lot better. I know I got my mic here working, so hopefully sound quality and everything sounds and just goes better tonight, especially considering we're doing postseason podcasts now. So anyway, the Astros are 1-1, so not terrible, not as good as things could have been, as we were hoping, obviously. One other thing I wanted to mention was usually by the end of the year, I sort of, by the last Sunday, like last Sunday, for instance, I would usually talk postseason roster. That's one thing I didn't bring up. Obviously, in previous years, the Astros have been, sort of clinched and set in their sort of seating by that Sunday, so I can sort of look ahead. But that Sunday, the big news was, winning that game to clinch the division, the first round bye, all that good stuff. So I didn't even talk roster. You could sit there and guess. I could have come up with about 22, 23 people, and then the last, 3 or 4 spots are usually coin flips, depending on what Dana and Dusty want to do. I have major issue with the roster now. We'll see how it plays out. Now, if the Astros win the series, you can reset the roster and things could be completely different in the championship series if they win this one, that is. I don't like to jump ahead too far, but how is Kendall Graveman not on this? I don't know the exact roster. I think I read a tweet here, so I'm giving credit to Charlie Palillo. I might also do that going forward here in just a second, but how is Kendall Graveman not on this roster? I look around, and you have people like Rafael Montero and Phil Maton and Hunter Brown on this team, and you keep Kendall Graveman off? Does Dusty and I would think that they get together and come up with the roster together, so I can't pinpoint who makes the final call here. But are we watching the same games? Kendall Graveman has not been perfect this year. He's given up runs. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and defend Kendall Graveman like he's been some shutdown, lockdown reliever. But I'd certainly take him over people like Phil Maton and Rafael Montero. And Hunter Brown, Hunter Brown's ERA is like 8. And it gets worse every single month. That's the other credit I wanted to give to Charlie Palillo. He, on Twitter, broke down Hunter Brown's ERA month by month. It started poor, basically in May or June. And it's gotten markedly worse every single month, yet he makes the postseason roster. So I have no idea what the thinking of. That's the one issue I have. How does Kendall Graveman not make the roster? And I see other people like Greg Kessinger and John Singleton make it. Sometimes I don't know if Dana Brown, and I don't want to pin this on, I don't know who to pinpoint here. And obviously you could jump on Dusty Baker. I don't like to be that person. But like John Singleton, Greg Kessinger, Hunter Brown, Rafael Montero, Phil Maton, over Kendall Graveman? It's like, do we watch the same baseball game? I've been watching the Astros the last few months. It just doesn't make sense to me. And yeah, if you have a good reasoning for why Kendall Graveman's not on this roster, please comment in the section below, because it's mind-boggling to me. So anyway, I'm not going to harp on that. I want to move on here. Need my water, though. All right. So game 1 went well. As good as you could hope for. Only one negative. That was Hector Neris coming in the game and imploding like he did. But luckily the Astros had a good lead. I mean, Altuve hits a home run first pitch that he sees bottom half of the first pitch of the postseason for the Astros and puts him on the board. Jordan Alvarez had a big 2-run home run in the third. And the Astros are up 5-0 after 5. Verlander was great. Now, Verlander did struggle to start. Didn't allow any runs. Got a couple of double play ground balls in the first and second innings. So, this thing with Verlander, and we saw this last year, the first game against Seattle in the ALDS, where he struggled mightily because he had like 8 days off in between because you have that first round bye. This time he had 5 or 6 days off, which is more than usual, but he did settle in starting the third inning and then got through 6 scoreless and really set the tone in the offense, put up some early runs to really, put us in a good spot. That allowed Neris to come in and struggle the way he did, giving up the big 3-run home run to Jorge Polanco. And then I want to say it was Royce Lewis on the solo shot that made it 5-4. Astros tack on an insurance run with another Alvarez home run, 6-4, and then Abreu and Presley were able to shut the door 8th and 9th innings. So that was a good first one. Always good to get the first one at home there. But yeah, yesterday was not very good for the team. So, I mean, it was a lifeless effort offensively. And Framber Valdez just wasn't good. He stunk last night. And that's who Framber Valdez has been for like the last few months. I mean, Framber's really the tale of two seasons. First half, the All-Star break is where I sort of look at things. So the All-Star break before, he was great. I mean, he was all the bit of an ace that you could hope for. I mean, record-wise didn't indicate it, but his ERA was mid-twos, 2.50. I mean, he was great. Since that point forward, he's been very inconsistent and just not very good at all. And yesterday was another good example. Now, I can't pin the entire game yesterday on Valdez. I mean, the offense didn't show up. I mean, Alvarez had a 2-run home run in the 8th, but at that point it was 6-0. So, I mean, it was just a lifeless effort. These two games sort of was like a microcosm of the season. Like, you got the good Astros on Saturday, and then you got the bad Astros on Sunday. That's sort of what it's been like all year, I feel like, for the Astros. So those two games sort of signify the Astros season in a nutshell. Astros day off today. Play tomorrow at 3, so I want to get this podcast out shortly here. But, yeah, Valdez wasn't good. The bullpen came in and actually did a good job, and Dusty did not use his better bullpen pitchers. I think he was sort of mailing it in after it was like 4 or 5-0. Really, after Valdez came out, it was 5-0 at that point. Now, Stanek did give up a run, but, I mean, Phil Maton got 2 outs, walked a guy, struck out a guy, Montero got 5 outs, 1 hit, struck out 3, so did his job. Hunter Brown came in the 9th inning, 2 strikeouts, scoreless outing. Bullpen was good, but the game was basically over by the 6th inning, it felt like. I mean, the fans were out of it. It was 5-0, and just nothing was going the Astros' way. Bregman's been terrible. Tucker hasn't done much. Abreu, same old. Moldy is who Moldy is. So, I mean, you could have pinpointed a lot of things with the loss yesterday. I'll just chalk it up to 2 things. Framber stunk, and the offense didn't show up. So I'm not going to go much further than that. I'm not blaming Dusty either. We knew Moldy was going to start games 1 and games 2. Now, the fact that I produce a radio show now on our sports radio station, Sports Talk 790, I get a lot of calls, and I know what the fans are thinking, I feel like. And a lot of it was on the Moldy issue. We knew Moldy was starting games 1 and games 2. Like, we knew that Verlander and Valdez were, I mean, they I'm not going to get into the whole Yanair Diaz situation here. So we'll see how game 3 and game 3 and game 4 play out here. Javier, I guess, is getting the start tomorrow, and then we don't know yet on Wednesday. So, but yeah, I mean, you're obviously going to have to take 1 in Minnesota here to get the series back home for a game 5. But the Astros had won 12 straight ALDS games at home. So this is the first one they've lost in a long time. that the last one they lost was Game 4 back in 2015. That was a heartbreaking game against Kansas City. If you guys remember that Game 4, where the Astros had a 6-2 lead, and then they blew it late in the game, late in that game, and then they blew it again in Kansas City and lost that series. In fact, I'll even take you through the 12 wins real quick. So, the Game 4 they lost in 2015 against Kansas City. They missed the playoffs in 2016. 2017 they played the Red Sox. They won the 2 at home, wrapped up the series on the road, so that's 2. 2018 they played at that point the Indians, beat them twice, that's 4. In 2019 they played the Rays. They won 2 at home and actually had lost 2 in Tampa Bay, came back home, won Game 5, that's 7 straight in 2019. 2020 was the COVID year, so we didn't play games at home that year. 2021, this is where it gets a little dicey. I'm trying to remember who they played in 2021. This always gets me. I had this last night, too. I knew exactly who they played. They played the... I just had it, man. Who'd they play? They played the White Sox. Yeah, the White Sox. They won 2 at home, wrapped that up on the road. That's 9. Last year, Seattle won the 2, swept them. That's 11. And then 12 was Friday. So that was 12. That's your 12 straight wins in the ALDS. So, and then, yeah, losing yesterday was tough. But, yeah, we go on the road. Road games, hostile environments don't faze the Astros, at least from everything we've seen in terms of the postseason games the last few years. They go on the road, it doesn't faze them. They've played in LA, they've played at Yankee Stadium, they played in Philly. It doesn't faze them. So I'd expect them to bounce back. I think this game is going to play out. We'll see Javier. I think he's going to have a semi-short leash. Urquidy will be available out of the bullpen, I believe. So if Javier struggles early, now Sonny Gray pitches for, the Twins. He's good. He's been good this year, I believe. I can look at his numbers maybe here. This year, 8-8, 2.79 ERA is pretty solid. So, but yeah, we'll see. The offense is going to have to show up, and Javier has to just hang in there and try to get through 5, 2-3 runs, keep it there. Hopefully the bullpen or key, whoever comes in after him can hold it down. But you got to win one of these next 2. Obviously, you can't lose them both or you're out of the postseason. Season's over. So you got to win one of these next 2. And preferably you want this game tomorrow because we don't even know where our Game 4 starter is, but whoever it is, I really don't know. These like everybody other than the Verlander, you can basically just draw names out of a hat. I mean, that's the way it is with Fromber and Christian Javier and Jose Urquidy and JP France. I mean, I don't know who to trust. I really don't. I mean, it's Verlander and everybody else. And Verlander would be available on regular rest for Game 5 if they win one of these next 2. So that's got to be the goal, right? So, yeah. But I'm trying to think here. Just to give you a quick recap on other series. And then I'll sort of wrap things up here. But games being played right now. So the D-backs who won Game 1, 11-2. Lead Game 2, 4-2. In the 7th inning. If they hold on, Dodgers are in trouble. Braves came back at a big win tonight. They were down 4-0. Needed this game because they lost Game 1. Got shut out. But came back to win 5-4 tonight. So they tied that series going on the road. And then the Rangers have a 2-0 series against the Orioles. And I think the lack of playoff experience is hurting the Baltimore pretty bad. So Texas wins 2 games on the road. Now they come home, and they're in the driver's seat to close this thing out tomorrow. But yeah. But this Dodgers D-back series, I didn't even talk about the wild card series, but obviously the D-backs won, Phillies won, Rangers won, and who are we playing right now? The Twins won. So I won't go in depth there, just what the DS is here. But yeah, I'm going to be keeping a close eye on this Dodgers game because I'd love to see their fans and their people sweat a little bit, especially if they fall down 0-2 having to go on the road. I mean, they'd be in the same boat the Orioles are in. But the D-backs, I mean, they beat down Minnesota, or not Minnesota, but Milwaukee pretty good. Coming back in both those games, they got some. Looks like they got some. They're feeling good, confident, and they got none to lose. D-backs got none to lose, so they're playing free and easy right now. And they got a chance to go up 2-0. So that's the interesting thing as I look at the scoreboard right there. So anyway, I'm not gonna again. I had 2 games to talk about, so that was it. 1-1. Got to win one of these next 2. That's sort of my breakdown for you. Preferably tomorrow, but going on the road and playing games in Minnesota does not scare. It shouldn't scare anybody. The Astros have done this for years, and they've won games on the road in the postseason. The fans and none of that should. Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't faze anybody. The Astros have done this. Yeah, so that's my takeaway. But yeah, I'm not going to continue to go on and on here about other things. But, wanted to talk about the roster briefly. All the regulars are still there. I talked about, Kessinger and Singleton and Hunter Brown and Rafael Montero and Phil Maton and people like that. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk to you again. Next off day should be on Thursday. So, yeah, we'll be looking toward that day. I do have to work a little longer that day at work, so we'll see how things turn out. But, yeah. 7th is now over. It just popped up. So, D-backs lead after 7, 4-2. Anyway, wrap things up there. Love to hear your comment section below. All the good stuff on YouTube. Smash that like button. All the good stuff. I'll get this out. Hopefully you can view it before the Astros are back in action tomorrow. Tomorrow for me, if you're watching this, probably the day of, or who knows when it is. But 1-1. Astros going to win one of these next 2, and yeah, we'll wrap things up. We'll talk to you probably back here at home. I'm back home as you see the fan in the background there at the top. You know I'm at home. So, yeah, anyway, wrap things up there. We'll talk to you next time.